What's up, guys? This is Zach, coach of the Secret Garden Hoopas, and I am back for a Week 9 commentary against Evan and the Saffron City Sneasels. I want to do something a little bit unusual before getting into the battle, and I kind of want to go through the team I brought this week, because it's a little bit of an unorthodox team. So, the team I built this week was basically built around supporting a Dragon Dance Scrafty. So I did not bring Tapu Lele, and I did not bring Ferrothorn this week. Which I know means that I have no Dragon Resist and I have very limited Fairy Resist. It's a risk I was willing to take. But I wanted to run this Dragon Dance Crafty set, hoping that Evan chose Greninja to be his choice Scarfer, because everything, aside from Greninja and Crobat, I believe Scrafty outspeeds everything on his team after a Dragon Dance and does some pretty massive damage as well. And Scrafty has Moxie, so once Scrafty can pick up one KO, he can start going on a rampage. So I was really hoping for that, and without any further ado, we're going to finally get into this match. Another thing I spent a lot of time on in this match is making sure that none of my Pokemon had ice moves because of his Ditto. If he were to stop my sweep by using a Ditto, then my answer would have to be Gligar. So I made sure no one on my team had ice moves so that he could use Ditto to take out my Gligar. My Gligar was a big ball for me this week. Anyway, we see LeCharles Mega Evolved, and Kachow is going to Volt Switch out. I led with Kachow just to see if he would try Scarfed Greninja U-turn lead. He's done it before, but obviously Evan's not going to do the same exact thing every time. He's going to switch it up. So Batata comes out, and I'm going to just kind of gauge what this Charizard wants to do. It does about 50 points of HP, so a little under a third. And I'm going to just go ahead and roost up. I don't think Evan wants to take that fight with his Charizard. Obviously, I can do over half with an Earthquake, and unless he starts setting up Dragon Dances, he can't do over half to me. So after I'm roosted, I'm going to go ahead and switch out into Kachow. This is my obvious answer. I'm not going to make any crazy predictions. And Evan already is making predictions, so he goes ahead and throws out the Toxic. I say it's a prediction because Evan knows that Gligar has immunity, so Toxic would have been a wasted turn if Gligar stayed out. Obviously, I'm not going to stay in. So I could have U-turned and maybe gotten a little lucky there, or it just would have been more beneficial in general. But anyway. Gardevoir traces Volt Absorb, so that was really big. I didn't think about Gardevoir tracing abilities. I did think about Ditto having the ability to copy my sets and things, and he didn't bring his Mudsdale, so I thought he had no electric resist, but that was very smart on Evan's part. And then I'm going to go into Kamikaze because I am choiced into an electric move on a Volt Absorb Mon. Moonblast does a lot of damage, so Kamikaze is a mixed defense Pokemon this week, but that does a lot of damage, which tells me that Gardevoir is choice Specs, which is good and bad for me. Obviously that means Gardevoir is going to do crazy damage to my team, and Rotom Heat is my only Fairy Resist, and it still does almost half. But that also means that my plan of a Dragon Dance Scrafty does have a chance of being pulled off. Right now all I need to know is whether or not this Hydreigon is Scarfed, which I just Thunder Waved as it came in, and I needed to know whether Jirachi was Scarfed or whether Jirachi had Moonblast. So those were the things I was looking out for before trying to pull the trigger on this. So I'm going to go ahead and swap out into Kamikaze again, just to see what this Hydreigon wants to do. And he's going to go throw out a Draco Meteor, which would have done pretty big damage. I thought it might have almost KO'd me, or would have KO'd me if it were another spec set. I don't know if Evan would do that, but I had that in mind. And he brings out Lucky the Jirachi, so just seeing what Lucky's got here. So Lucky has leftovers, which means he's not Scarfed, so after Dragon Dance, my Scrafty will outspeed, so I keep that in mind, and I just need to see what moves Jirachi has, because if Jirachi does not have Moonblast, Jirachi is a candidate for Scrafty to start setting up on. So I'm going to throw out a Scald and just see if I can fish out some moves from him. So he shows Stealth Rock, so I know that's at least one move. If he has something super effective for my Suicune, I assume something super effective for my Gligar. So I'm just kind of waiting to see. So he throws out a Thunder Punch, so half of his moveset has been revealed. And I'm just throwing out Scalds. If I can burn him, it'd be fantastic, especially now seeing that he's a physical set. It would really make Jirachi a good candidate to start setting up on. So I'm not sure what the rest of his moves are, but he's gonna throw out Gardevoir now, and he's going to trace my pressure. And I am going to switch out as well. So Evan calls my switch, I think, and is in a pretty good situation here. I am going to start throw out a U-turn at this point. So he has Trick on his Gardevoir. So he tricks Choice Specs on me, and now I know Gardevoir has Eviolite. So that makes Gardevoir much less scary for me. It's not choiced for speed or for attack. It's got pretty much a useless item on him. So he did cripple my Gligar, but now I know his Gardevoir is much less scary as well. So now I can throw out Mega Lopunny knowing I'm faster, and I can throw out a return. I could have thrown out a high jump kick if I wanted to, but I didn't think I needed to at that point. I think that was more risk than reward, so I was just going to go ahead and throw out a return. So Mega Lopunny evolves, Mega Evolves, sorry, and throws out a return. So this shows what kind of Linguini set we have here. It does less than half, so this is a physical defensive Linguini. I expected no less, but this confirms it. And I'm going to go for a high jump kick because high jump kick does some decent damage, and I think there's like a very, very minimal chance of a high roll, or at least it does over 50%. And it does do over 50%, so I would win the Recover War if not for Leftovers. So he shows Leftovers there, and I'm like, I'm not going to win this. I'm not going to sit here and high jump kick until I miss and screw myself over. So I'm going to go ahead and swap out. So I go into Chow, and he protects. So he reveals that he has Protect on his Linguini. So that means high jump kicks are scary against this Milotic. And I'm just going to go ahead and I believe I call his bluff and still go for an electric move this time. I don't think he's going to go ahead and trace Volt Absorb yet again. Yeah, and I do. So I go for Thunderbolt, but this is just as good a switch. It's resisted, and Canker Sisters seems to be pretty bulky this week. So it shrugs it off pretty easily. At this point I'm choiced into a move that's resisted, so I'm going to have to swap out. It probably would have been better to just Volt Switch there instead of Thunderbolting. That was a misplay, but... So I throw out Kamikaze, and at this point, I've seen these sets. I doubt that Jirachi has Moonblast. I know Gardevoir isn't Scarfed. And just going through... And Hydreigon isn't Scarfed, it's got Leftovers. So going through all of this, I assume his Scarf has to be on his Greninja. So at this point, I'm trying to let Kamikaze die. If I throw up a Tailwind, even a Scarf Greninja isn't something I'm worried about after Dragon Dance. So I figured if I could get a Tailwind up, that'd be awesome. Get a Tailwind up and let it go down. But he gets fully paralyzed, so I'm not going down yet. And I'm obviously going to go first, so I'm going to throw out a Signal Beam. So Signal Beam is a little remnants of me not running Ice moves just because of a potential Ditto on my Gligar. So I ran Signal Beam. Nothing... Evan didn't have anything that I felt I needed Ice for anyway. He doesn't exactly have like glaring Ice weaknesses, so a lot of coverage moves help me out there. So he's going to withdraw Canker Sisters. Evan's playing a very good game. He knows I'm looking to let Suicune down, or let Suicune go down, so that I can capitalize off of this Tailwind with my setup Sweeper that I'm just completely relying on at this point. I'm going to throw out a Signal Beam, just another one just to hit his Hydreigon in case it stayed in, but he swaps out into his Gardevoir, and he's going to take this time to heal Bell up, so it's a good play. He's going to get rid of the paralysis on his Hydreigon so that it's not crippled, and he only sacrificed maybe 15 to 20% on his Gardevoir for it, so that's a good play. And I get a Toxic off, so we're going to see what he wants to do here. I'm at 80%, or 80 HP, sorry. So I don't think anything he does to me will KO me. So he's going to throw out a Moonblast, which is the scariest thing he can throw at me pretty much, unless he had Thunderbolt. And it does not KO me, so I do live and I get my Tailwind up. So this is a little game of Ring Around the Rosie we're playing. So he's either going to have to KO me and let me capitalize off of this Tailwind, or he's going to have to kind of play around letting me live for 3 more turns and then taking me down. So I think Evan's going to try to opt for the second one because he really, really does not want me to have this Tailwind up when a new Mon comes in. And I'm going to throw out this Scald, really hoping not to get the burn at this point in time because I don't want to raise Milotic's defenses in case it is running that ability. And I don't get it, so luckily that worked out. And Milotic is sitting at just under 70%. I'm going to throw out a Signal Beam just because I'm really trying to let this Suicune die. And I don't think anything that this Linguini is going to do is going to KO me immediately. If he's going to let me stay on for 4 more turns, I'm going to get 3 more turns, sorry. I'm going to get 3 more turns of recovery and things like that. So that's just kind of what I'm considering. So he takes that time to gain HP back on his Linguini. And now Lucky comes out. So at this point I'm thinking I threw out a Toxic because I figured if he's going to try to play the long game and delay my Tailwinds, I'm going to get Toxic on him. Even if it raises his defenses, the Toxic will start to stack pretty badly. Anyway, he goes into Drachi and he shows Iron Head. So at this point I'm thinking he's got Stealth Rock, Iron Head, Thunder Punch, and maybe Ice Punch. And of course, Drachi running Iron Head means you flinch pretty much all the time. So Kamikaze flinches there. And now I am in KO range for a Thunder Punch, and my Tailwind is gone, so Evan did really well there, just playing around my Tailwind and finally taking down Kamikaze. But now looking at this set, being very confident that it does not have have Moonblast, and obviously it doesn't have a Scarf, I'm going to throw Fat Joe out, and this is an opportunity for me to get a Dragon Dance up. This Drachi doesn't do anything to me, so this is when I pull the trigger, and I think this is when I do something. So he's going to throw out Linguini, which is his physical wall, and I'm going to get my Dragon Dance up, so we're going to see what's going on. I am faster. Knockoff does just under half, I'm pretty sure, and High Jump Kick will do just over half, but I don't want to throw out a High Jump Kick now that I've seen Linguini here has Protect. He's throwing out Scalds. I am not worried about burns on Scalds because Fat Joe is carrying a Lumberry this week. There are sets where, like, Scrafties have Shed Skin to get rid of burns, but that's a chance, and I don't want to take the chance, so I have a Lumberry. And, like, my fear for Protect is why I go for Thunder Punch there, so I get brought down pretty low. But at this point, I'm going to take out his physical wall here. And Linguini is down, so at this point, my Moxie pops and gives me +2. So the only thing Evan can answer with is Eraserhead the Greninja, because that's the only thing that's faster than me now that I've seen nothing else is Scarfed. And I'm bulky enough to kind of force him to go for a Hydro Pump, which has a 20% chance to miss. And I think you guys just saw it there. He does miss the Hydro Pump, so it's unlucky. It's extremely unlucky on his part. And it's not like it's a misplay. I think Hydro Pump was kind of a necessary play to guarantee the KO. So it's not like him being greedy or anything. It's just unlucky. So at this point, Scrafty has a +3 and is outspeeding everything on Evan's team. So I can go ahead and get a High Jump Kick on this Hydreigon and just keep getting Moxie boosts and kind of clean up the rest of the team. Like I said, the missed Hydro Pump is huge. It really just let Scrafty start ticking off with this. And I did build this, like I said before, I built this Scrafty assuming that it is a Scarf Greninja. If his Linguini did not show Protect, I would have gone for a High Jump Kick the second turn, and I would have been at, 60 to 70% HP, which even after that, a Hydro Pump wouldn't be a KO unless it were crit, so I would have been in a much better position. So since I made a little bit of a misplay, it gave Evan a chance, but the Hydro Pump missed, so it's just unlucky. We talked before, and Evan and I both agreed that he was playing pretty much a perfect game. In Pokemon, I think there's a lot of things in Draft League Pokemon. I think a lot of things need to be considered. So like there's prep, which I felt like I did a pretty okay job at, just because I had this one plan and the plan worked because of a miss. And then there's playing in the game that Evan did much better at, and you know, the scales don't always weigh the same. Sometimes hacks just kind of ruin how well you do. Anyway, I'm rambling at this point. I won off a Hydro Pump miss. You know, I've lost matches earlier this year off of crits, so it's just kind of something that happens. But now I think I've moved up to 3rd place in the league standings, so I'm feeling okay. A lot of difficult matches are behind me, and I'm looking to try to continue a little bit of a winning streak. So I'm going to catch you guys next week when I battle Amber, I believe, and her Great Walls. So we'll see how I do against that. See ya.